Welcome back to another episode of the Many Faces of Cancer podcast. I am your host, Melissa Grosboll, and joining me today is Edna Castillo. And Edna is a cancer thriver coach, speaker, and best-selling author of Living Your Intuitive Genius. After facing an aggressive breast cancer diagnosis in 2020, she discovered firsthand that while medical treatment addresses the disease, our thoughts, emotions, subconscious patterns, and nervous system play a powerful role in how we experience the journey and in our capacity for resilience and well-being. Today, through the Calm the Chaos Cancer Method, Edna helps individuals navigating fear, uncertainty, and overwhelm with practical, science-informed tools that regulate the nervous system and work with the subconscious mind. She believes that when patients take agency in their care, they regain a sense of control, become active participants in their treatment, and create the conditions for greater hope, healing, and well-being. So welcome to the show, Edna.
Oh, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
I cannot wait to dive into this conversation. I've talked about it many times, and most people understand, at least on some level, how important emotional healing is on a cancer journey. And then it's more than just the physical. We focus so much on the physical treatments and surgeries and healing and all of that, that the emotional piece tends to get put on the back burner until it just rears its ugly head, and usually in a not very appropriate way. And then we're forced to deal with it, but we don't really think about it. And I love what we're going to get into about working with the emotional piece along with the physical piece for complete healing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it is something that, although we know that it's in the background, it's not something that we address while we're going through the cancer journey. And the way I like to separate it is you're looking for curing the disease, but we want to heal the whole. So there's the cure and there's the healing, right? Of not only the disease itself, but the dis-ease in other areas of our lives, especially our emotions and how we're intaking the journey in every other area of our life as well, right? The relationships, the work, the everything. So it's a process that I know that it's sometimes very, very difficult to address, because number one, we all think, okay, let me just get treated, let me go for the medicine, but if we're not addressing other areas of how are we dealing with the emotions as we are intaking the medicine, our body is not taking them in properly if we're in tension, right? Very tense and very, very in fear. So lowering that, lowering the temperature of our emotions helps us heal faster.
Well, and I just had a conversation a few weeks ago with an oncology nurse, and we talked a lot about, not a lot about, but I really brought it up because it was very important to talk about, is so many people talk about cancer as fighting cancer, battling cancer, this war against cancer. And she was just awesome in talking about when you are fighting, when you're in a battle, you are tense, your sympathetic nervous system is really high, and how lost the word, but how appropriate is that for healing
Yeah.
and allowing the medicine to be able to do its job if we're like in fight or flight mode all the time because we feel like we have to fight it and we have to battle it and we have to win the war kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's just it was a fascinating spin on it. And even people who call themselves cancer warriors and things, it's just, I don't know, it has a very different feeling and
Yeah.
connotation, I think, than healing from
Exactly.
cancer.
Exactly. It's interesting because when I work with my clients, that's one of the things that we look at. What is causing friction and irritation, right? Because friction and irritation is that push, is that whole thing about fighting something. And if you're fighting something, like you said, your sympathetic nervous system is like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, whereas, okay, I'm healing, and really relax. And when we're relaxed, our body is open to the medicines, open to getting healed. But if we're in fight mode, we're basically in attack mode, and everything is closed in. So definitely, and I love the fact that a nurse would talk about that and encourage the patients to, just, I don't want to say chill, because it's not a chill kind of
Right.
kind of journey, but relax. Everything's going to be okay. The worry, the fear, the uncertainty, it's all part of it. Yes, we want to acknowledge it, but we don't want to just, like pitch a tent there,
Yeah.
right? We
Right.
don't want to just stay there.
Right.
We want to overcome it and move through it. So then that way we're able to heal our body, mind, and spirit. Yeah.
And on a little different aspect, so when I was going through my treatment, to me, my oncologist highly recommended that I have chemo. And as a retired chiropractor who spent her entire career not dissing allopathic medicine, but being very much more on the natural side of things, I, I prayed and I meditated for weeks about it, because in my heart,
Yeah.
I couldn't justify that chemo was something that I needed for my stage 1 cancer. And when I finally talked to her, I said to her, I said, "Okay, you're talking to my head. Like, and in my head, I get that this is probably the
Mm.
best thing for me for the type of cancer that I have, but in my heart, I just don't believe that it's true." And I said to her, I said, "If my head and my heart can't agree, then I don't feel like it's going to work anyway, even if it may be the right thing for me." And it's kind of it's a little different take, but it's still a similar thing. Like, I couldn't get my heart to believe that this was going to be beneficial for me. And so how much is it going to actually work if I'm continuously
Yeah.
fighting it? And so,
Yeah.
I feel that that was the best thing in my healing. And I say all the time, whether or not that decision turns out to be the right one remains to be seen. But as I'm 3 years out and still no evidence of disease,
Yeah.
I'm taking that was the right thing at the time.
I love that. I love the fact that you wanted the coherence of the heart and the heart the heart in the head.
Yeah, the heart
Um,
and the head. Yeah.
yeah, right, because yeah, we have to. It's the wholeness. It's the in your intuition, was you were listening to your intuition, that part of you that knows all, saying, my body doesn't require that. That my body doesn't require that to heal. And that's often, well, that's, doctors are not, our doctors are there to heal the and cure the disease,
Right.
and they're not there to you know moderate your feelings. And so I'm so, and that's one of the things that oftentimes happens with people. I have to do what the doctor says,
Yep.
and that becomes an issue, because again, their heart may not be in it, their mind may not be in it, and there is the dispute of going against what you're really feeling is right for you.
And I'm not going to go through a year of chemo if
Yeah.
I don't even think that it's going to work.
Right, right, right. Well, that works with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is not going to allow it to heal properly, and that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we're all in all aspects of it.
Mhm.
I have a story about, I was always very healthy prior to cancer, so I'm a cancer thriver. 5 years cancer thriver. I had breast cancer, and um, 16 rounds of chemotherapy. That's what the doctor, the very first, because it was rapidly going through my body. Where in March I'd gotten a clear mammogram, and in May I already had a lump, and
Wow.
by June it had already grown like 11 millimeters. It was really, really rapidly
So
moving
very
through. So
aggressive cancer that
very,
needs to
very
be knocked
aggressive.
out.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the thing. Okay, let's knock it out. Let's make it small and then have surgery and go through the whole process. Well, my nervous system was like, oh my gosh, chemotherapy. You think the worst, right? And this is medicine. And being a person on the other side before that, of one that either taking Tylenol was not my thing, it was like resisting the medicine. I had to um, convince my mind and my body that this was the proper thing, really, because I had already had something that, no, I hate medicine.
Mhm.
And so working with my subconscious mind to accept it was part of the process. And that's where I'm like, how many people are built like me? And I had the awareness because I was a coach first. I was coaching people, in life. And so I had these tools, and knowing that I wasn't all in, I had to make myself go all in. So that's one of the reasons that now I'm doing what I'm doing, because many of us grow up with so many paradigms about medicine, about what the chemo system means, what the medical system means, all of that,
Mhm.
right? And if you're gonna allow medicine to be the conduit of your healing, then you have to be able to be open to it. So I love the fact that you said, no, I'm not open to it. And I know because you listen to your inner wisdom. So,
And
yeah.
not that my decision is the same decision for anybody else.
Right.
And for you, you had a very aggressive cancer that was growing very quickly, and you
Yeah.
knew, yeah, I need this chemo because this needs to be taken
Yeah.
out. And so it was almost not that you did the opposite, but you worked to convince your body that
Yeah.
this was the right thing versus me, my body, or, my heart
Yeah.
telling me that it wasn't. So I love, that's one of the things I love about this podcast and everybody that I chat with is our stories are all so unique and special. And what works for one person doesn't work for another. And these influencers, for lack
Hmm.
of a better term, and people that are out there selling a program or selling a product that says, it worked for me, it'll work for you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Cancer is very individual, and our treatments are all individual, and our lives are all individual and unique. And to me, I'm like, don't do something just because it worked for somebody else.
Yeah. 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 We do live in a culture that works that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's one of the things that um, I've bumped into as I've worked with cancer patients is sometimes uh, you're you're just following along what the protocol is because the doctor says so, despite the fact that it may not be for you and you knew that it wasn't for you. um, or giving the doctor the entire helm of whatever you say, doc, without the process of thinking, is this something that I want to go through? I
Mhm.
have an example of a elderly woman that's in her 80s, and she's frail already, and the doctors are here to, and I love them, by the way. I love
Of
them
course,
because
me
they're,
too.
I mean, they're here to heal. So for them, it's okay. The next step is chemo. And one of the things is she's like, okay, the next step is chemo. So I asked her, I said, is that your next step? You're 80 plus. You're frail. Chemo is something that will, it has rigor. Is that what you would love to do? And that seemed like an unusual question for her. It was like, oh, you mean I have a choice? So it was
Especially
like,
at that age, like they're
right,
brought up to believe that the doctors know
yeah,
everything and I'm not allowed to question.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, of course you have a choice. I ask questions about what if I don't have the chemo? Is there something less? But she hadn't even asked the questions. It was just like, I'm gonna go with the protocol that I'm being told to follow without advocating for herself as to what really feels good. In her circumstance, she was, I'm not saying she's going to die soon or in a few years, but it's, it could be very more rigorous than it would be to a younger person going through something like that. So,
And
yeah,
we're
she
not
made,
telling people not to follow
right.
the protocols. Please
Exactly.
know that.
Exactly. No,
We're just
exactly.
telling people
No,
to ask questions and advocate for yourself and make sure that
that.
what they're recommending is the best thing for you. Get a
Well,
second opinion if you need to.
yeah, and that's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly what you were indicating, that everybody's so individual, their experience is so individual. So look for the options. Consider all options.
Right.
And in my case, I thought it was only one option. Let me just do what the doctor's indicating, because it is very aggressively growing through my system. But when you have more options, then there's definitely time to advocate and question. Yeah.
So take us back just kind of briefly. You did mention, and we mentioned in your intro, that you had aggressive breast cancer. Take us back just to kind of around the time you were diagnosed, like what was going on in your life? How did you get the diagnosis? And you said 2020, so I'm assuming COVID was involved in all of that. Always have the wonderful COVID stories when people were diagnosed in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, I was certified as a coach in 2019, but I was serving as a coach, and I had my own job, the 8 to 5 job, which was really like 12 hours a day, because I was the HR person of a nonprofit. So you can imagine the amount of work that I had, and I loved it. It wasn't like I was, just against it. It was was loving it, and on top of that, I had children and a husband and elderly parents, and life was full. So juggling all of that, I felt like life just said, you know what, you need to sit yourself down and take care of yourself. In July 2019, I was diagnosed with the breast cancer.
Okay.
I didn't start treatment. In May I felt a lump, but because of COVID, I was no, I have my years wrong. It is 2020. Because of COVID, it was like I didn't go to the hospital right away. I didn't get the treatments right away, because everybody was very, very, cautious as to, and I'm like, I'm going to a hospital where there's a lot of COVID people to get this, seen. It was very traumatic. But eventually I did go in, and it was discovered that I needed to go and have the 16 rounds of chemo right away. And it was totally a blessing in a way that it happened during during COVID, because I didn't have to tell everybody.
Ah.
Okay, we were already, everybody in their homes, right?
Mhm.
And I did it in a way where I did call certain individuals, and I said, hey, this is what's going on in my life. Would you pray for me, please? And, people that I knew that would hold me, not in the sick way, but, not poor little Edna, but saying, no, I want the best for her. But so it was a closer community. And obviously, I stopped the coaching. I was on disability for a while because it was so intense, and after that was 5.5 months of chemo. Yeah, yeah. So for the first month, for the last 4 months, it was every single day. On Thursday afternoons, I would get infused. Thursday mornings, I would get infused into the afternoon. And so it was like a little roller coaster of energy, where the initial couple of days of you getting chemo, you're fine, and then your energy goes down, and it was like a little roller coaster of energy. But during the time is when I wrote my book. I'm like, okay, what would I love to do? I was talking to somebody, and they said I was taking journaling notes about the journey, and said, what are you going to do with those journals? I'm like, I'm going to write a book. Oh, okay. I started writing the book. So that occupied my time as I was going through the process. Then I had surgery. I had they removed the tumors. It had already gone into the lymph nodes. So they did remove 13 lymph nodes, and reconstructive surgery because they didn't want one boob to be bigger than the other. And then 30 sessions of radiation.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where, 10 months of treatment, of really totally dedicated treatment in the physical, but totally mental treatment in the mindset, right? Every single day, my working with what we've talked about, the emotions, making sure I wasn't in fear, that I was actually looking for a vision into what's going to happen here. So I immediately had a week into the diagnosis, I thought, I'm a coach and I'm being given this illness, this sickness. I wonder why. And so I'm very spiritual in nature and immediately thought, all right, I'm supposed to learn how to go through this so I can teach others.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like an agreement that I made with myself to experience the treatments in a way and coach myself through the treatments so that I can learn how to go through it fluidly, which I did. There was no stopping of any of the protocol, and at the end teach others how to do it, because with the type of treatment that I received, many people would just do the stop and go because of the rigor of taking in chemo every single week.
Mm-hmm.
um, Part of the mindset that I maintained helped me get the result that after 16 rounds of chemo, my nurse turned to me and said, your blood work today is better than when you first started.
Wow. That's
So
fantastic.
at that, I was still in the nervousness of it, that it really didn't ring any bells.
Oh,
When she said that, it was like, oh, okay. But later, it was like, oh, wait a second, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Everybody's blood work usually goes down and they have to stop the treatment because they're not healthy enough to sustain the treatment. You mean to tell me my blood work was better? And that's when I knew I had something. That maintaining a mindset and working with, your intuition, and working with the subconscious mind, and the tools that I teach, then you can have a better result on the other end. Yes, you have to go through the journey,
yes.
and that's one of the reasons I call myself a cancer thriver, because I thrived through the experience, and on the other side of it, I really came out a winner of knowing a lot more than I knew before.
Well, and I
Yeah.
love that you saw that opportunity so early on. And maybe that's just because you had kind of really just gone through the whole experience of becoming a coach and everything, that stuff was still fresh in your mind, because it's really easy to tell others and not do yourself. And so for me, like, I became a personal trainer because exercise was what helped me get through emotionally and physically through my treatments and through this whole experience. But it was, gosh, it was like 6, 7 months later before I said, hey, because I'm the type of person like you, I like to use my experience to help others.
Yeah.
But when I was going through it, that was the last thing I was thinking of. What I was thinking of was, all right, get it out of me. What do I need to do? And how do I thrive forward? So I love the fact that within a week you were
Yeah.
there and said, I'm gonna go through this so I can help other people. That's truly remarkable.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I think, yeah, it was just the coach in me, in looking for the reason. There has to be a reason. So I made up the reason. And who knows, maybe it was, right. It's one of those things that I'll never know, but it did help me evolve into a person that can actually help others going through the journey that can be devastating in some aspects to some. Yeah.
And so you were able to make that switch, I'm assuming, pretty quickly and start working with cancer patients, or was there kind of a, I guess, a transition time where you're like, do I really want to do this? Or, how
Interestingly,
was that process?
I'm so happy you, well, I'm so happy that you asked because yes, the intention was there, but then when I completed treatment and I'm looking at my business and I'm like, oh, wait a second. That means I'm going to have to work with cancer patients. Do I really want to do that? Not everybody's successful in terms of beating cancer. Do I really want to go through the heartbreak? So that took a bit for me to really digest and decide that yes. And it really was more nudges than anything else, meaning spirit was nudging me to do it because opportunities started coming up.
Mm,
Opportunities that if I wasn't meant to do it, they would not have manifested.
absolutely.
Just as a simple example, I was helping a client um, uh, get back into the job market. She had been out of the job market for 6 months, and she was being coached. I was coaching her into getting back. I go into LinkedIn to look at her profile. Well, in terms of what popped when I opened up the LinkedIn, it was a job description to work at a community cancer center, a nonprofit. And it was like, are you kidding me? Are you trying to make me apply for this? And I looked at it, and sure enough, it was exact. I could do everything. I had done everything, and except I wasn't a clinical. I didn't have a clinical background, but I'm like, okay, I'll apply and see what happens. And sure enough, I was given the job on the spot after I was interviewed. So
Wow.
it was really I was led to it's going to be okay. And now it's obviously it's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful journey of actually helping people. And yeah, I do go through some heartbreak, because not everything
Right.
is successful.
And
And
that's
but
part
the
of
relate
just living
that
in this world, unfortunately.
yes, yes. But you do see the beauty of life in a different way. You do see people's uh, imprints in
Mhm.
who they are in a different way and how people show up. It actually is such a blessing to be in this journey serving cancer patients because it actually I don't know, it magnifies life
Yep.
in a way that if I wasn't doing this, I would just ignore the small things, the very important small things,
Yeah.
you know like just making somebody smile, or the laughter of someone, or the success of just being with their family. And it's just a different I don't know, experience of life that I feel very blessed to have right now.
Yeah. I feel like when I'm having conversations with people on this journey, or where I'm training people on this journey, or even just talking to people, it just reaffirms the need for gratitude about everything, because I mean, not every day is guaranteed. And when you hear those three words,
Hmm.
I don't know about you. First thing that entered my mind was, oh my gosh, am I going to die? And
Hmm.
just having that appreciation for life every single day. And I don't get stressed out nearly as much about little things as I used to. And my husband will, I won't say he'll come home because he works from home, but he'll come downstairs and just ranting about something, which, okay. And I don't know. I just kind of look at things differently, and I'm like, okay, is this really going to matter in a month or in a year? And it really helps to just dial all of that in, being in this community every day. I don't know if
Yeah,
you feel the same way about that.
exactly, exactly. It allows you to see like the gift of life, like you said, and the gratitude, finding gratitude in every situation, no matter whether it's something good or bad. what actually is one of the tools that I teach, because it raises the way you're looking at something, right? You leave behind the bad and you just focus on the good. And the other piece that I think I'm very well, I don't think, I know I'm very grateful for, is now I look at life with the viewpoint of life is very short. We don't know when things are going to occur, or so valuing the relationships that are in front of me at the time, and also seeing the opportunities that arise and saying, will I regret not doing this, on my last day of breath? And that has actually helped me develop into a different type of person. You and I were talking before the podcast about me being an introvert, right? And that's one of the things when I'm catch myself going inside my little cubby hole and just wanting to go inside. I often think, okay, will I regret not showing up to this function,
Mm.
and shining my light? Will I regret that? And oftentimes that's what makes me encourages me to
Get you out
show
of the
up.
house.
Yeah, no, because it's all about service now.
Mm.
It's not about me, it's about service.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about Calm the Chaos of Cancer. And I think more from a standpoint of, what are a couple of tools? Like if somebody were to come to you and be like, I'm so depressed, I'm so angry, like I can't find gratitude, I can't make anything good out of this. Kind of what is one or two tools that you can give to somebody in that overwhelm or anger or grief stage to help kind of bring them along to more parasympathetic, more
Yeah.
gratitude?
Yeah. Well, calm the chaos is, with the acronym CALM, CALM, calm. And so the first tool I would say is, create safety in your nervous system. And that's through your breath. So if you're finding yourself really anxious and really just hating the world, like you just described, it's about really tuning into the present and seeing the gift, right? Because you're looking outward, everything sucks, everything's no good. But when you start breathing, you realize, and you basically come to the present and realize, I'm here. And so the breath that I teach that calms down the nervous system is breathing in from your nose and breathing out of your mouth as if you're blowing from a straw. And you can feel your shoulders just soften, your jaw just unclench. And you do that repeatedly, and that brings you to, you know, okay, I got this. And from there, you can move on to the A stands for aligning with our body. Because we oftentimes, during a cancer journey, we blame the body. It's not, it's sick. It's not working for me. And, gosh, so we start cursing the body, not realizing that we're the body. Let's love the body. Yeah. And appreciating for the work that it does. So it's aligning and really being attuned with your inner sense of who you are, and loving parts of yourself.
Well, and going
One of
back
the
to what we talked about, the battling
Yeah,
is maybe the body is sick, but the body is also going to do the healing. And if
exactly.
we're angry at the body, how much room is there for it to actually do the healing?
Exactly. Exactly. And we don't realize that our thoughts are creating that mentality of our body not healing, because we're treating it as the enemy. The body is the enemy. It's something outside of us. And so it's aligning with our body. And the way I like to get people really to realize parts of their body is be conscious of what it's doing for you, and bless it and love it every day. say thank you feet for helping me walk through and carry me all day. And it just, you start thinking about your body differently when you start actually seeing it as a part of you, right? I have a client that says, no, it's not an it's a her, because I'm a her, so she calls
Good.
her that my body is a her. I love that. And then the L is just aligning with all of the assets that we have, the leveraging our inner intelligence, the wisdom that we have within us, like you did with knowing that chemo was not for you, in having the capacity to reason things out in a way that is calming, right? And really seeing the one of the things is, how am I perceiving this? Am I perceiving this? I call it the bug view, when we're so focused on the disease. Are we looking at the bird's eye view of saying, this is my whole life, and this is just an episode in my life? So when you're in the angst of everything's going wrong, just kind of scoping out and saying, oh my gosh, this is just a day in this beautiful life of mine. And that just changes the focus of how we're feeling, and actually how we're acting and reacting towards responding to life, right? And then the M is just having the mindset, and it's more than being positive, because most people think, oh yeah, I'm positive, but positivity actually creates angst, right? Because some people think, oh, I'm not positive enough, therefore I'm not getting the results. Or if they think of it as, I have to be positive all the time. So then they don't allow themselves to have fear and be negative at times. We have to go through the emotions, or else the emotions get stuck in our bodies.
And that's never
So,
fun either.
yeah. So when you're saying, sometimes people say, just stay positive, everything's going to be okay. I'm saying it's more than just staying positive. It's just about believing that things are going to turn out okay for you, that the circumstances that you're going through are um, can be seen as an episode or a chapter in your life. And the more you do that and continue to live your life, right? Meaning, oftentimes I found, especially people with, stage 4, they like, this is the end. And that's all they're focused on. They don't make plans for the future. Well, if you're not making plans for the future, then you're not giving yourself an opportunity to look what's beyond cancer, right? And by seeing what's beyond cancer, your subconscious mind starts planning for the future. And when you're in the future, it doesn't have the capacity to see the present. Like if you're imagining, I am going to that wedding, my daughter's getting married, and you're imagining your daughter getting married, and you're there, your subconscious mind thinks you're there. So you're creating that capacity for your body to heal at the time. So it's a process. You could see, it's different tools, but the biggest one is your breath, and bringing yourself to the present moment, knowing that this is a time in your life, a little smidgen time in your life, and your life is bigger than just that.
And that's why C is the first one in calm,
Mm-hmm.
by creating that safety with your breath. And
Exactly.
people joke sometimes about breathing techniques, but honestly, they really do work. When I was going through radiation, I had it was like 4 counts in, 8 counts out, the parasympathetic breathing. And I just did that through every radiation treatment while I was laying there, just doing that breathing through the whole thing. And it kept me calm through the whole experience. And I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. 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 I use it to sleep now too. That the 4 and 8, it just does something with it. Just relaxes your whole body.
It does. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So it
All right.
definitely.
So, Edna, where can people find you if people want more information about your Calm the Chaos? They just want to connect with you about your experience. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Well, you can. I have a website, livingrealitydreams.com. And in that, there's a tab for Cancer Thriver. In that tab, you can find information about the program. And then there's also a contact page that you can just contact me. Or I also offer a workshop every month. So people
And
can.
what's the workshop about?
It's called Calm the Chaos of Cancer. And I teach tools about how to navigate cancer. It's a 90-minute workshop. I had tried to do it in 30 in an hour, and rushing through it was not good. So it's now 90 minutes, and then I stay over after the workshop to answer questions, because people need, I believe people need more than just a medical treatment to get through the journey. Emotions arise, and dealing with those emotions and the fear, the chaos, the waking up at 3 in the morning thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me. um, those things are things that we can do something about by thinking different things, and have different tools to keep us away from this, getting so tightened up with the sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, and freeze, so we can relax and actually heal.
I love that. And that is over Zoom, correct? You don't
Yes,
have to
it
be in
is.
San Francisco to
No, yeah,
participate in your workshop.
yeah. It's a virtual workshop from
And we
anywhere.
will put all of that information in the show notes, so you can just go to the show notes and click on it. But it is, what was the website again?
Livingrealitydreams.com.
Livingrealitydreams.com. Love that. All right, Edna, one last question. So, having gone through everything that you went through with your cancer journey, and now being a coach and coaching other cancer patients, cancer survivors, is there anything that you would do differently through your cancer journey, knowing what you know today?
Hmm. My gosh, that's a really good question. One of the things I would have done differently, I believe, is actually being more connected, because it was during COVID, with um, other cancer communities. We need the support. We need community. We need to hear stories of other people that have been successful in how they've navigated things. Um, I was in a bubble, and because I was in a bubble, I went through the protocol, right? Of this is what you do. I believe that being in a more in a community would have given me the ideas of, oh, okay, I think I can ask this question of the doctor next time I see them, and I think I can learn this or do that, right? And because we learn through people. I'm not one of those people that went in online and researched the disease, because that's one of the things that I recommend people don't do.
Yeah, absolutely.
uh, right. But how else am I going to navigate this, if I'm in a bubble? And oftentimes, Melissa, and you know this, I don't know, it's just some people do just don't even want to share their
Mhm.
experience, right? There's those individuals that don't even tell their family members they're going through it. And perhaps not tell your family members, but tell someone.
Yeah,
Go to a community of other cancer patients, where you can learn from them, you can share your experience with them. And that in itself is healing. It heals to talk about it.
100%.
Um, and people learn from you, and you learn from them, and your world grows, and it just becomes a totally different experience. So if there was one thing, I think I would have seeked out more community to learn more about it, about
I
how
love
to
that.
navigate it. Yeah.
That's a great answer. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Edna, thank you so much for your time today. This was such a great conversation, and thank you for sharing a little bit about your Calm the Chaos method with everyone. And I hope people can take away at least one little nugget of information about that. And keep up the great work because people out there need you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure to be here. And yes, just calm the chaos of cancer, and you can do this.
We can
Um,
all do it. Yes.
you can all do it. Yes.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.